Hi everyone, this is Nikki Yu, also known as Faces Trader, and you're watching the April 8, 2021. It's a Thursday, it's a Philippine market update. Let's begin. Okay, so for the Philippine market, we will assess the Philippine market is down 100 points, down 1.6%. We're back at 6,545. Let's read the index movement. You could see that the market value turnover continues to be very low. So we've been seeing market value cut by half from prior 8 to 10 billion. Now it's just about 5 billion pesos. So today is the first day that the market fell down. The market fell down because last 2 days we were already up. So today is the first day for the week that it's down. 89 advancers, 110 decliners, which still every day naman it's been a foreign selling day. So let's take a look at how big the markets are dropping and which index names are we interested to buy. So let's just read the prices first. URC is 142, AGI is 11.4, Lushitan Group is 14, FGen is 31. Metro Bank is 44.75, Ayala Land is 34.5, PLDT is 12.55, DMC is 5.75, Robinson's Retail is 55. Security Bank is 122.9, Emperador is 10.36, Pure Gold is 37.6, Globe is 18.30, Robinson's Land is 18.28, San Miguel Corporation is 118, Mega World is 365, Bloomberry is 689, Aboitiz Power is 23.7, BPI is 83.7, Meralco is 280.6, BDO is 101.4, MPI is 405, GT Capital is 535, AEV is 35.5, ICT 125, Jollibee 179, Ayala Corp 760, JG Summit 60 bucks, SM Prime back below 37, now at 35.6, SM back below 1,000, 965. So you're seeing that the Philippine market dropped because SM Prime, SM, all these names actually fell again. And you're seeing them actually follow through on the downside, meaning we are really still in a strictly trading range. Now, for the top traded names, let's take a look at the markets. You are seeing that your ASA and your DITO are unchanged after some strength in the last couple of days. So we are just seeing that even if the market is falling, take note that it's just unchanged, meaning it is still relatively resilient. Your LRW up 10%, 2.1 to 2.3. Let's take a look at your APL. Your APL is down 4% at 21 cents. Your BHI is 9 cents. Your Jollibee, your Merry Mart is just unchanged so far. Your Jollibee is having a trouble at about 185. Okay, so your BSC is also down to about 102. Your FES is up a little, 79 cents. Your your Primex is up 1% to 2.98. Your land is down 3%. Your FI is unchanged. So we are seeing your non-index names. They're not down, but they're not up either. So they're just unchanged. Top gainers, you could see that the market's top gainer for the day is LR Warrants. Other than that, your FES and pretty much almost all are unchanged. Your Cebu Pacific, take a look, even if it's just 10 million pesos, is going up to about 42.6. All right, worst losers, let's take a look at the worst losers. APL down 4%. SM Prime still going down. Your SM still going down. Your JG Summit. So basically, we still have very little news on the market in the Philippines, no? So let's try to understand what's happening. Try to look at the Inquirer.net headlines. Okay, so Duterte is negative for COVID-19. Duterte remains fit and healthy for his age. NCR is administering 120,000 COVID vaccine doses daily. People are asking, where is the budget? 9 billion pesos for the hospitals. Inquirer is taking a look with Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat. FDA is granting a hospital permit, special permit for ivermectin use, for a compassionate special permit. What are we seeing here? There are calls to extend the deadline for the ITR. World Health is very worried about the Philippine healthcare capacity, and the COVID-19 cases are still very high. As of April 7, you've got 800,000 confirmed cases in the Philippines, 646,000 are recovering. We have 14,000 deaths, 14,059 deaths so far. What are the news? Some travelers are power tripping to just get into the tourist destinations. Indonesia is saying arrival of 30 million doses could be delayed to 2022. Lockdown, what else? In the mo of death, sans ivermectin. Will 2021 be another write-off? So we are in a perpetual state of figuring out. Okay, so we are still in a quagmire in the Philippine business, Philippine news headlines. Okay, small investors are turning to stocks to make money. That is true, but not necessarily Philippine stocks. It could be global stocks, or they could be actually investing in cryptocurrencies, not necessarily Philippine markets, as you could see with the 5 billion pesos, very low value traded in the Philippine market. Pandemic jitters dampening local firms' demand for dollar loans. Cebu Landmasters expects to regain growth momentum. So here in the Awesome10X channel, we want to actually explain to everyone that here in the Philippines, you could still make money by trading and investing abroad, not necessarily in the Philippine markets. Nonetheless, we'll read about these news. Okay, so says here that some travelers are power tripping just to get into tourist destinations. Puyat is saying that some LGUs have shared stories. Tourists are screaming at workers assigned to ensure that travelers entering their area are compliant with requirements when their traveling is questioned. Napaka-irresponsible talaga. Alam naman nilang positive sila. When you talk about COVID, your responsibility is not only for yourself but even for others na alam naman nilang positive sila, but pa rin pala sila pumunta. So there have been tourists from Manila who even forged their swab test just to enter Boracay in January this year. COVID is your responsibility, not just for yourself, but think about the community, especially the tourist destinations na ngayon pa lang bumabangon tapos kapabayaan. Okay, so indeed, the Philippine markets is really having a tough time to stay safe and recover because of irresponsible people as well. Okay, so that's a problem. You could see that these are interesting times. By June 2020, Mark Zuckerberg might actually be explaining about many things. Their Clubhouse rival, their launching actually of their Facebook currency, which is their wallet, Zuckbox. So it's been something that's been said since May, so last year. And about 2 years ago, they've already been harping about the Libra. So I think that it's very important that Filipinos learn how to invest globally, and we teach that in our global market updates. Nonetheless, let's first talk about the Philippines, and let's ask people the comments first. Oh, no comments. So, okay, I'll just take a look at the specific charts for the Philippine market, given that there's really lack of news. So we'll just take a look at charts today, and the typical most actively traded names in the market. So top traded names, we'll start with that. Dito and Asen. All right. So no changes actually. Dito continues to remain in their range. Dito is still in that 7 to 14 ranges. Let's try to probably read what are the interesting news bits here. Meralco, may dagdag singil sa April. BMW, change in directors. Notice of stockholders meeting and special stockholders meeting. Mega World, analyst briefing. Shell Philippines, clarification of news reports. Cebu Pacific, annual report. Okay, so let's try to read the annual report of Cebu Pacific. Petron, material information and transactions. Okay, let's take a look at that. Jollibee acquisition. Let's read this. Okay, so Jollibee is acquiring more Jollibee shares even at 184 to 187. That's good news. So that you might be aware that there are Filipinos or foreigners, in that case, that's an insider who still believes in the Philippines economy that we will recover someday within the next few years. Okay, so let's try to also read PNB's material information here. Says here that they have approved the nomination of the new independent directors of the bank, Vice Miss Florencia Tariela and Mr. Felix Alfiler. Yun. So, yun. Anyway, so some new board of directors, independent directors. What else should we take a look at here? Share buyback transactions. Okay, Robinson's Retail, at least we know at 55 is buying some shares. Let's take a look at the clarification of news reports for Jollibee. Okay, so restaurant operator plans to expand in Europe by growing 50 stores in the next 5 years, or just 10 stores a year, after seeing positive debut in Rome, Liverpool, Leicester City, despite the pandemic. They're dedicated to growing the Jollibee brand in UK and across Europe, investing £50 million, demonstrating our commitment to become a major player in the European quick service industry. Obviously, the expansion of Jollibee in London's Leicester Square is just the first branch. They want to open 7 more branches, including in Edinburgh, Scotland, in Wales, and Cardiff. They also plan to open a store in Spain and in Madrid. So in behalf of Mr. Baisa, all of these statements are correct. So you're just seeing that Jollibee is really expanding their footprint in every corner of the world. And I guess you have to declare that the global Jollibee wants to cement itself as a global giant, a QSR, quick service restaurant, similar to how McDonald's invaded every country, such as the Starbucks. So that's a good news, especially since Jollibee is heavily entering OFW-driven countries as well. So any European country with a lot of Filipinos, they try to attack that, and that's how it started with Singapore and Hong Kong. That has been bearing fruit. From the start, they targeted OFWs. Over time, it has been mainland Hong Kong citizens, even the Filipinos, non-Filipinos, already patronizing Jollibee themselves. Ayala Corporation also just released a cash dividend of 6.56 per share. Okay, SPC, perhaps material information on their dividends. So, it's just about online tools. Okay. Costco, SPC declares cash dividends. Okay, so regularly 40 cents. Okay, for SPC. So it's just a cash dividend play. Let's read ACE. What else did ACE say? Cash dividend din ba? Okay, ACE is saying here that they mortgaged Waterfront Manila Hotel and Casino to support their development of up to 8 billion pesos to call and approve a mortgage loan. It's a 318-hectare reclamation project in the city of Manila in partnership with WPI, envisioned to be a future CBD in the city of Manila for the mortgage of Waterfront Manila Hotel and Casino. So in a special board meeting, they want to increase their assets of ACE and to secure the creditors of Waterfront Manila Premier Development. Okay, so what you're seeing here is that the company ACE is trying to loan and securing their loan through a casino mortgage. So perhaps that's the reason why it has been rising these past few days. So notice there has been an increase in ACE from 150 to 2 pesos, no? So there's been some movement, but it's been no movement for about how many years now? ACE has been no movement for the last 8 years, 8 to 9 years. So it's very critical to see that ACE has resistances at 4 and resistances at 2.3. So this is a substantial movement with volume here at about 150. So we'll take a look at whether this will get sustained. Can it go to 30 and go to $4 with these mortgage and credit loans, no, that they're trying to do? Okay, let's read more on some news here. CLI. Okay, CLI is rising, right, to 6 pesos. The significant milestones they discussed in their analyst briefing on April 8, 2021. They said that their sales are taking up still strong, 14 billion pesos, backed by sustained housing demand in Vismin, resilient performance of 8 billion pesos with unrealized revenue of over 20 billion pesos. So that's the people who are buying Vismin real estate. Balance sheet is reaching $1 billion due to $1 billion due to construction and buildup of recurring income businesses. Net income guidance is standing at 1.85 billion pesos. That is a very strong income for Cebu Landmasters. So far, they're launching sales value of 11 billion pesos, 9 projects in 2020. Construction is still increasing to 90% gradually, and buildup of leasing portfolio is now 80%. They also have a growing growing hotel portfolio of about 1,433 rooms by 5 years' time. 2025. Sustained leadership in Vismin residential market with a 12% market share, growing shareholder value, declared dividends, and 25 cents regular cash divs to start a reclamation project of 100 hectares in Minglan Nila, Cebu, prioritizing digital transformation across the company, and their outlook is very much bullish. They want to spend 12 billion pesos in capex for project development. They want to increase their GLA to 28,000 square meters from just 14,000 square meters, and they want to resume a growth of about 20% upside by 20% and launching 15 residential projects worth about 19 billion pesos. So very bullish on Cebu Landmasters. We can download their investors briefing here. So let's read. Okay, very bullish. This was released last night, April 8, sorry, not last night, yesterday morning, 10 in the morning. So, sorry. Okay, so I've just read all of that. Significant milestones. Okay, strong reservation sales. You could see 70% reservation sales for Casa Mira. And then that's the yellow target here. And then office sales is 10%. Garden Series, Premier Series, very small office sales. So really residential, no? Backed by a sustained housing demand in Vismin. So the Casa Mira is really doing well for them. It says here that the pandemic buying had a home buying boom, and so healthier homes. There is around 200,000 housing supply per year, and there's an 800,000 still new housing backlog per year, 22 million backlog by 2040, which means that they are still addressing this huge backlog. So every Filipino still loves to own their own home, and Cebu Landmasters is taking advantage of that demand. So there's been an increased construction activity in 2020 due to this entire Visayas, Mindanao, Cebu needing that demand. So very strong demand metrics here. Revenue per location is very strong, primarily in Cebu. Okay, let's understand some more. Sales of real estate doing well, still 8 billion. Rental is about 55 million. Hotel is 55 million. Still grew. Gross profit still grew. They've got net income. So it's a very very good income for a company in a pandemic. Balance sheet reaches $1 billion, so 50 billion pesos, with a buildup of recurring income businesses. They've got adequate cash here. They still have accounts receivable, contract assets, real estate inventories, deposits on land, investments on properties. So the company debt is about 1.48x net debt to equity. Okay. They want to spend a lot more. Continuous land banking to support their expansion plans. 100 hectares in Mingmori. So they even have Palawan, Ormoc, Bohol, Mactan, Mandaue, but primarily in Cebu and Davao. So this is a play on Cebu and Davao land banking as well as the residential housing. Take note that what's happening, Development Corporation, they have townships, mixed-use hotels, offices, residential, quite a strong move on their Casa Mira in South. So this is their residential. 63 billion pesos total project value, 90% have been sold. So very strong. That means that they've got a lot of unrealized revenue, and residential units sold are 21,000 units. This is an amazing, in fairness to Cebu Landmasters, good numbers, okay? Casa Mira in Iloilo, 76% sold. Casa Mira in Dumaguete, 31% sold. So I guess like we are seeing a little mega world in the making here, no? In terms of Visayas and Mindanao, because Mega World is also very strong in Cebu and Iloilo and all of this Visayas Mindanao region. So we are seeing this is more of a intense Visayas Mindanao play, but more particularly in Visayas because it's mostly Cebu. Okay. So this is the how should you call this? The outside Manila play, Cebu Landmasters Residential. And they're leasing a lot of the rental revenue to Robinson Supermarket. So you've got this gross leasable area. That's why they could confidently increase, and a strong 80% occupancy rate. Okay, not bad. They've got hotels, growing hotel revenue. This is Citadines, Radisson Red, Sofitel Cebu. Very well run, no? You could see that the company is very well run. Congratulations to CLI shareholders. Looks a very good presentation. Rebound and Abound. So these are their projects. The completed projects are these blue lines, and they've got a lot in the pipeline, and they've got ongoing projects as well and ongoing development. Very strong all over the region, and they even have a development even in Palawan. So strong projects worth 19 billion pesos and recurring businesses. Sofitel Cebu, Sugbo Prime Estate, Abaca Resort in Cebu, no? Strong outlook, guys. Okay, so they have a supply of 7,500 units. They want to spend capex very well, resuming a CLI growth trajectory. Strong business updates, very strong moves. Okay, so let's take a look at CLI. Perhaps people who know much about the business are just holding on to their shares, which explains why CLI is trading at all-time highs. So it's really about fundamentals on CLI, projecting very strong growth and outlook that is really the cause for this movement upward. So I guess that it's all just optics for CLI. Congrats to those who have shares of CLI. Should be a lot of buyers at 550 below if any pullback does ensue. Okay, thank you very much, guys. And let's go to our global market updates. So that's it for the day. Thank you, CLI.